Anthropic just released a brand new tool called Claude Design. And apparently, within hours, Figma's stock tanked, and the internet started calling it a Figma Killer and a Canva Killer because Claude Design lets you create wireframes, landing pages, Instagram posts, pitch decks, all from a simple chat prompt. But is it actually as good as the hype? Especially if you're a small business owner who just wants an easy way to get designs done without learning another complicated tool. I spent the day testing Claude Design so you don't have to. Here's everything you need to know. Let me show you how Claude Design works and what it looks like because it's different to Claude Chat. You can access it from the browser and it's currently available on paid Claude plans. You see this little design icon on the left-hand panel, and this opens up Claude Design. So Prototype gives you the option to design wireframes or high-fidelity landing pages and websites. Slide Deck allows you to create PowerPoint slides and presentations. From Template is where you'll find animation and motion design. Other is where you can design pretty much everything else. There's also the option to set up your own design system. When you go into this for the first time, you can upload files, fonts, your brand logos and assets and everything you want Claude Design to reference and use. Everything is saved in your designs panel, and there's also a search function as well. So that's what you're working with. Now let me show you how it actually produces because I tested every single one of these options. If you're a solo business owner like me, you've probably put off redesigning your website because it means either hiring a designer or wrestling with a website builder for days. But what if you could just describe what you want and get polished design options in a few minutes? So I went to Prototype, selected High Fidelity, and asked Claude Design to redesign my website homepage. And I gave it a link to my current website. Claude asked me questions relating to my preferences, and it seemed to do this for all of the designs that I started. And then I simply answered them and let Claude get to work. The designs that Claude generated themselves were pretty impressive, and the ability to get a visual of 3 different design options quickly makes this incredibly powerful. To make changes to the layout, you can select Tweak and then prompt it to add sections to the designs, or you can prompt it in the chat window. From the Edit button here, you can make changes to the design elements like the text, so you can delete it. You can also go in and change the color of the text here as well. This is one of my favorite features because you don't need to prompt the changes and regenerate the whole thing just to change these little elements. To actually get these designs out of Claude Design, there's an export function here, and this allows you to export it as a couple of options. You can export it as a standalone HTML. You can hand it off to Claude Code. I downloaded it as a standalone HTML, and when I open the file, it looks mostly fine. I also tested exporting it as a .svg file and importing that into Figma. And when we look at it, it came through okay, but some of the things are slightly off, like the shapes and some of the components here. But generally it was okay, it just wasn't seamless. But for getting beautiful visuals that brings out your idea, this is incredibly powerful. It skips the pain and overwhelm of staring at a blank page and trying to get a layout of what you want. And if you want more easy to follow content like this landing in your inbox every week, I send out a weekly newsletter with AI workflows and prompts you can use straight away. Sign up using the QR code or the link in the description. But what if you don't need a polished design and you just need a basic wireframe to get an idea out of your head and into something you can share? Claude Design really surprised me here. So from Claude Design, you can select New, Prototype, and Wireframe. It did a really great job creating the sections and the layout for me. So there's a couple of things like this line that isn't quite aligned properly, but it's a pretty decent first part. I also asked for a .svg file so I could import it as a working file into Figma, and everything from the design came into Figma editable, and all of the elements were fully intact and the whole file is workable. So if you're someone who sketches ideas on paper or describes things in voice notes, this gets the idea into a mock-up that you can actually work with and share fast. If you've ever stared at a blank PowerPoint trying to make a slide deck look professional for hours, this one's for you because ain't nobody got time for that. I selected Slide Deck from Claude Design and asked Claude to create a course template for me that I could actually use. And Claude created the perfect pack. So I used Claude to create lots of PowerPoints, and we already know that they offer this in Claude and that they do this very well. So I wasn't too surprised. But does it export? This exported cleanly, keeping its formatting, and gave me something I'd actually use. If you're finding this useful, Make sure you subscribe. I put out videos like this showing you how to use AI to get more done without the overwhelm. At this point, I was feeling pretty confident and happy with Claude Design. Everything I'd thrown at it had come out usable, so I decided to push it into something more creative. From template, I selected animation and asked it to create a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell motion graphic, something I would use as an overlay in my videos. The design itself looked solid. It kept to the brief and the style that I wanted, and it looked really good. But the problem wasn't what it made, it was getting it out of Claude Design. So I couldn't export it in a format that was actually usable as a video overlay. It suggested saving it as a WebM file, and I was just burning up usage at this point, trying to get it to work, so I abandoned it. Claude Design can think in motion, but it can't deliver motion easily yet. It's one to watch, but not one to rely on today. And then there's one that I was probably the most excited to test, because if there's one thing every small business owner wants, it's a faster way to make social media content. So I selected Other, and then I prompted it to design Instagram posts for me. I gave it a brief with screenshots and some design inspiration. The output was a little bit underwhelming. Some of the elements were stacked on top of each other incorrectly, and some of the designs were okay for the most part, but I kind of expected a little bit more. And then when I exported it into Canva using the export function here, a lot of the design came over as flat images instead of an editable template. So I can't edit all of the elements. Now I know that Canva supports editable layers, but that step really should have happened in Claude before the export, if you ask me. And at this point, I felt that it was just okay, but it was quite disappointing. The designs themselves, I feel, need work, and the Canva export, which was supposed to be the big magical workflow, just doesn't give us what we need yet. And the biggest elephant in the room right now is usage. Claude Design has its own separate usage from your regular Claude usage. I burned through my entire week's allowance in one day, and that was before I even had the chance to truly iterate the designs with the tool. I ended up paying additional usage on top of my subscription just to get the exports finalized, and I'm on the max 5x plan. There's already a lot of chatter about this being a major problem. Right now, the usage limits are the biggest barrier to actually using this as a true design tool, in my opinion. It will be interesting to see where Anthropic lands on pricing as it moves out of research preview. So is Claude Design a Figma killer, a Canva killer? No, I don't think so. Not today. But I don't think that's what they were going for either. What it actually is right now is a really fast way to go from a rough idea into something visual that you can actually work with. Claude Design is just the latest tool in Anthropic's offering. But if you haven't explored what other things that Claude can already do for your business right now, beyond chat and design, you're really missing out, because there are features inside Claude that have completely changed how I get my content done every week. If you want to learn about other Claude workflows, check out my Claude playlist. I walk you through everything in simple steps that anyone can follow.